Money can't buy taste.
You would think that with all the resources that billionaires and a lot of celebrities have, that they'd use that to get some pretty cool stuff. And yeah, honestly, some of them do. Like Bob Odenkirk bought this painting for $67,000. But I've come to the conclusion that money does not buy taste. And I really feel like these Fortune 500 CEOs aren't using their millions and billions correctly. Cause explain to me where your door opener for your door opener is. So to continue my series on hating on people far more successful than me, I've made some criteria on what I would consider having bad taste. If you want to debate me on anything, go ahead. But I've got some pretty grass is green, moist, critical takes in here. JK, no Charlie slander around here, bro. Alright, so firstly, I'm gonna do taste in regards to things that people buy that would be considered personal. So examples could be being distastefully unfashionable, meaning it fits a hot ass.
Sandwich the shorts and the socks with the tee and the, oh my god.
You can also have a distasteful sense in interior design, simply meaning your house is hideous. But for now, we're just gonna focus on these two. Now, as you may know, the majority of celebrities have stylists.
This is like the classic, no matter how much money you have, money cannot unlame you. So if you're lame, you're gonna be lame, buddy. No matter how much money you got, you're gonna be lame. So that's the classic.
And the majority of billionaires have one fit. Zuckerberg is the only billionaire that I think has tried to dip his toes into fashion, and he just got straight LARP allegations. And people were actually mad to see him at the Prada show. And I have to say that some comments are just doing too much. But the idea of having a stylist, you could technically say that's buying taste. But no, you're just buying the illusion of having taste. But sometimes people's visions are so lost and so whack that they end up hiring somebody that puts them in bad outfits.
Oh, but you can't say bad outfits. Fashion is subjective.
I have never seen a good Westbrook fit. But I think a fair judgment of somebody's taste will be the clothes that they choose to create. But I'ma stay clear of YouTube merch, okay? And any merch that's just clearly a cash grab. Cause one, two, the only people that buy this kind of merch are children, jesters, or people who are too supportive for their own good. And I really don't think I can take someone wearing Beast merch seriously.
Why is Mr. Beast merch better than most actual clothing brands?
Is it now? But when I think rich nigga bad swag, fucking municipal.
All this design that got me drip.
Bro, this shit is so whack because it's just objectively a bad design. Even just the name municipal, it means something that's related to a town or government. Where could he possibly have got that name?
He could only have gotten that idea from Benjamin Netanyahu. That's it.
If you're unironically buying municipal, let it be known Mark Wahlberg stones black people. And 2 Vietnamese men. How does this nigga have a career? And you know, I'm all for second chances, but when he dropped this Irish spring green hoodie with municipal curved across the chest, I lost faith in his redemption.
Oh god.
But you see, if Mark Wahlberg was gonna commit hate crimes in the past, I was just really hoping he could put that $400 million net worth towards maybe some half-decent swag. Then again, I question how much input Mark Wahlberg had into municipal, but do I really? He's really jacking this shit. But I just refuse to believe a team of people that specialize in design sat in a room and approved the production of municipal. I like to call this the Stranger Things phenomenon, because Stranger Things, multi-million-dollar show, but the writing and the ending was so bad.
Well, butter my butt and call me a biscuit.
But how do writers with all their resources at hand end up creating such a bad final product? And the same thing happened with The Boys. Is nobody telling them? And yeah, this isn't really along the lines of having bad taste, and so is a lot of the stuff I'm gonna say. But you know, money apparently doesn't allow you to acquire the means to create a half-decent final product. Not a very good title now, is it? But Mark Wahlberg will not finish talking, because what annoys me is I could sit here and hate on these weak-ass clothes, but people buy it, and that shit keeps me up every single day. But to really show you that money can't buy taste, every year the most influential and famous people gather in one place. Minus Deji, of course, but they gather to go fit for fit. And of course, I'm talking about the Met Gala. Now, a lot of the looks you see from the Met Gala is what is considered high fashion. It must be called that because you must have been a high to put this. But you're not gonna see anybody walking around like this IRL. But anywho, I find that some looks can be artistic, and I think they're good when they work with the theme. Now, there's two types of people that are dressed up at the Met Gala that I would say have bad taste. And first is the people that pull up in a basic ass suit. Go home, you are not on theme. And the second type, you just have some bullshit on. And the reason some people be so eager to put on some bullshit, it's because the Met Gala is just celebrity dressed to impress. But it's sort of hard to impress the most impressive people who've ever impressed. So you really have to shoot for the moon with the fit. And when you have people constantly trying to outdo each other or be the most talked about, that's when you become #1 bullshit guy. But you know, it's a line. The more experimental you get with your look, the more unique and special it's gonna be. But eventually we hit this scary threshold where we got lost in the experimenting, and I can tell you right now she's regretting this fit. I know that face, bro. I've been there. But the other thing is that brands invite celebrities and dress most of them, And I do not care to research how much input celebrities actually have to the final outfit, but still, you know, million-dollar fashion companies cannot be putting people in what looks like an optical illusion. What could the theme possibly be for this, bro? But the thing about clothes is they don't cost $80 million. Now this ugly ass house does. Genuinely went insurance building on the crib. I've made this a point before, but when a house gets too big, it just no longer serves the purpose of a house. So honestly, I find having a house that's too big distasteful. And no, I'm not spiteful because I can't afford it. Because look, we have this $80 million travesty. At the price point of even a tenth of that, that's pushing how much a house should ever cost. And not to mention this house is in Missouri. Do people live in Missouri? I'm not American, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure if you don't live in New York, California, Florida, or Nebraska, you're just not on Earth, bro. But I guess if you have the money to create this hideous house, go ahead with it instead of doing literally anything else. Do you have any idea what you could do with $80 million? You see what I'm seeing, right? But let's actually take a good look at this place. Now, this place is called Evergreen Crystal Palace. You mean Evergreen Crystal Shopping Mall, nigga.
Fuck you, mean.
But for some reason, they went reflective on every single surface of this house. Imagine seeing this from a distance, sun just piercing your retinas. Now, this house is on top of this hill, which is pretty cool, but also really annoying. You really can't get anywhere without a boat or an air vehicle. I mean, it does have a helipad. I guess that's how rich niggas move. But first impressions of the interior. Looks like a hotel lobby, furniture is hideous, 2 packs are ugly.
I hate it so much. I hate it.
And now, are those some little elephants?
You know how long I've been waiting for this?
Just asking to be addressed. Now look, I find almost everything about this house to be distasteful. From the damn colors of the walls and all the rooms being relatively small. Because it just has a lot of rooms instead of having bigger rooms, which maybe get rid of the gun range for a better kitchen than this. Also the little elephant room, that can go. I don't know what purpose that was serving. A large fire in the general vicinity of this house would be nice. But have you seen all the Dr. Seuss houses? There's all these novelty houses which exist to be absurd, so I'm not even gonna be mad about that. But then there's this $30 million mansion that was just bastardized. Now, I've been waiting to use that word bastardized for a minute now. But from the outside of this house, it doesn't look amazing, but honestly, the inside makes it look like a shirtless Marlin. Now, this house is described as maximalist, which let me just say, maximalism does not work in a mega mansion. It works in a 1x1 New York City apartment, yes. But that's because things aren't there for the sole purpose of taking up space. That's all the space they got. So much money put into this house for this final product. It's like even if the person who designed this thinks it's cool, you invite people over and this is your crib, they're gonna think you're insane. And for almost the first time ever, I don't appreciate how people aren't being negative enough in the comments. Just let me read some of these comments for you. Not 100% my style, but way more interesting than all those white and gray houses you normally see. Are we talking about the same houses? Okay, I think she's referring to contemporary houses, which I would say yes, this is very, very soulless. But this is the argument multiple people are using in the comment section to justify this house. More comments. The owners of this seem like they'll be fun people to know. Yeah, it'll be fun to know how they lost their minds. Love it, especially compared to the gray and white modern houses. Alright, so they have to be deleting comments, right? Because I refuse to believe this is the majority of takes. If the fellow common man thinks like this, maybe it was never about the money. I'ma hope for a slightly smaller fire on the perimeter of this house, just because it doesn't cost $80 bajillion. But now a different way to look at bad rich people taste. Let's go through some of the horrible purchases various celebrities have made, starting with chains. Now colored folks love their chains, which you can make the argument that a chain in itself is a horrible purchase. But Ken costs an opium chain SD Kid Dexter. And to translate that means no, it's not a bad purchase if it's tough. Which deciding if a chain is tough or not is kinda hard. A lot of chains are just trolls or done as like an inside joke. Like this big ass chain, or Ye's Horace chain, or even Rick Ross's chain of him wearing the chain that he's wearing. But you know, technically that chain should have a chain if it was the same chain. But I'm not trying to get into all that chainception. But a part of me just can't justify spending $250,000 on a chain with like a cartoon character or some shit on it. Okay, I can maybe justify it if you're not getting some bullshit, like Lil Pump's drug addict chain.
Absolute filthy, no good fucking drug addicts, man.
Good to know you're proud, I guess. Looking at it, it's probably wrong for me to judge people's personal choices and call it distasteful. But just because I like One Piece doesn't mean I should get an iced out Luffy across my neck. Even though that would be hard as fuck. Okay, my final verdict, you just can't have Bart Simpson across your neck. Get a grip. But I have to say I love the idea of customization, but you know, it gets to a f***ing point. 6'9". We get it, you're colorful, bro, but I really do not like your vehicles. Customizing something is a way to make it feel personal, but Kim K decided to wrap the Urus in velvet, calling it the cutest thing ever.
That's the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
But I'ma just call this straight distasteful. First of all, how impractical is this? I actually don't think she ever drove it too. Let's be real, knowing people, if somebody ever saw this on the street, the first thing they're gonna do is find something that can make a stain, and it's going right onto that car. And it's not just celebrities buying whack custom shit cause their personal brand or whatever. Shit like this convertible Monopoly Mansory G-Wagon exists.
This some different kind of shit. And I don't want to be a part of it.
What you reckon they think the hardest part of this car is? The Monopoly $100 bill painted on the side, or the beast blue interior? This vehicle does not need to exist. But honestly, why I think rich people have bad taste is because when you're rich, it just removes all consequences of your purchase. The guy that bought that $6.2 million banana, he's not gonna miss that money. But as a common man, if you bought a $2 bundle of bananas and somebody comes along with a bat and just fucks that shit up, you're just gonna end up making banana bread. But when you reach a certain level, you can spend 50 bands on something ugly and just say it costs 50 bands. This is the but it's Balenciaga argument. So if you ever come across some bands, don't let that money replace your...
What's up, YouTube?
He was running from a cop, jumping on
It just removes all consequences. But as a common man, if you... The guy that bought
it for $6 million and ate it.
But that $6.2 million banana, he's not gonna miss that money. But as a common man,
That's crazy. Yep, me too. Money can't buy a consistent upload schedule. It's been 8 years? No way. Oh, he's joking, or?
you would think that with all the...
I don't know.
This
This is hilarious. Isn't this the guy that does like the dance? I don't know.